All right.
Yes.
Well, I'll call this to order then, and our first order of business is to take the roll. So I'll just respond when I call your name. Kelly Baker Heffley,
Present.
Susan Besser
Present.
is here. I know. There she is. She's on mute.
Present.
Jeff Carson is here.
Yep,
But respond. Go ahead, Jeff.
I'm here.
Mike Hathaway,
Here.
Brian Laster,
I am here.
Lisa Marquardt is not here. Mary Pierce,
Here.
Ken Scalf is not here, and Jim Roberts is here. Okay. Our first item is a resolution. I need to entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2020-88, a resolution declaring that the Design Review Committee shall meet on June 15th, 2020 and conduct its essential business by electronic means rather than being required to gather a quorum of the members physically present in the same location, because it is necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of Tennesseans in light of the COVID-19 outbreak. Is there such a motion?
So move.
Thank you, Ms. Pierce. Is there a second?
Second.
Jeff,
Yeah.
thank you, Jeff. All in favor, I'm gonna call your name then. Kelly Baker Heffley,
Aye.
Susan Besser,
Aye.
Jeff Carson,
Aye.
Mike Hathaway,
Aye.
Brian Laster,
Aye.
Mary Pierce,
Aye.
and Jim Roberts, aye. Due to the COVID-19 outbreak, this meeting will be a virtual meeting. The purpose of the meeting will be to conduct a design review workshop. No decisions on applications will be made at the meeting. The public may call 615-550-8434 to listen to the meeting and make comments during any public comment period. The public may also email comments to planningintake@franklintn.gov to be read aloud during the meeting. Emailed comments will be accepted until 1 hour prior to the meeting. The meeting video will be available for public viewing 24 hours following the meeting on the City of Franklin YouTube account. The June Design Review Committee, it's a subcommittee of the Historic Zoning Commission. The meeting is informal and designed to guide applicants through the process of obtaining a certificate of appropriateness, or COA, for projects within the city's historic districts in light of the historic district design guidelines. Applicant participation in DRC meetings is voluntary but highly recommended for complex renovations, additions, or new constructions. Changes made or suggestions taken by the applicant based on the discussions with DRC are the applicant's choice, but DRC makes no representation as to whether any changes or suggestions made during the meeting will be approved by the voting body, the Historic Zoning Commission. There are 2 items on the afternoon's agenda. We're going to try to allocate around 20 minutes to each item. When your item is called, please introduce yourself, generally describe your item in about 5 minutes. Please note that the screen sharing permissions will be limited to staff, so ask Amanda to pull up pages of your item as needed. Please focus on the specific points of your project that you want DRC to discuss. Once you have provided a general review, the staff will provide comment on specific points for DRC to discuss as well. Our first item is discussion of addition and alterations parking at 142-144 2nd Avenue North, 906 Studio Architects, applicant. Mike Hathaway.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for the opportunity to present this project. So we were asked to help an existing business in downtown Franklin on 2nd Avenue, excuse me, add to their business their non-conforming or non-contributing property built, I believe, in the 90s, but currently operates as a boutique children's store on the ground floor and a children's book press on the 2nd floor. They are asking to expand their operations both for the boutique children's store and also the office above. On the second floor, the applicant is asking to include a single-family residence area there that they can actually have guests if need be, but most likely they'll use that as part of their business operations. The husband is the one that runs the press itself, the bookseller, and the book publisher, and then his wife runs a psychologist business there, practice in that back half. So they also own the coffee shop next door and are asking to allow us to expand their business there, committing to what's going on in downtown Franklin. So I've presented to you guys a way for that expansion to occur and would love your input for what's the right approach to that.
All right, well, I am happy to share the information. I do want to say for the record that Mr. Hathaway is a member of the Historic Zoning Commission and a member of the Design Review Committee who is representing an item on the DRC agenda tonight, just for the record. So I'll go ahead and share the item that he presented to me for us to discuss. Mike, would you like me to pull up the photographs first or the schematic?
I think it'd be great to start with the photographs to give us a sense of context.
That'd be wonderful. Okay, so could everyone kind of shake your head if you can see?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, so if you, I know this is redundant, I've said this 1,000 times, but if you can't see for the pictures of the folks on your screen, you could drag the black bar over the top person that you see around on your screen so you can move the people around. So the photos on the top page I have here, and I'll let Mike explain what you're looking at.
Sure. So look at number 11. That probably gives you the best sense of context. On the right side is Harpeth Square, and I don't remember the name of the building next to it, but there's a current Onyx and Alabaster business, the interior design business there, as well as a realtor. So we're between that and the coffee shop that's on the corner of 2nd and Bridge on the right side, or the left side.
Coffee House, Onyx and Alabaster, and this is the Flower Pot Express.
That's right. Flower Pot Press on the 2nd floor and the boutique children's store on the bottom floor. Number 10 is just a view of the 2nd Avenue Street looking back toward Harpeth Square. And number 9 is the view down the street looking toward Bridge Street.
Okay.
Number 5 is a view of the back parking lot for the Flower Pot Press, where we're adding to the building. And then you can see the Harpeth Square on the left side of that image.
Now, while we're at this photograph, Mike, can you give a general idea of, and I can put my cursor there if you can, of where that addition might come out to from this photograph?
It is probably about 5 feet to the left of that crack right there that your hand is on. Right.
Okay,
yeah.
so somewhere out in here.
The other direction.
Oh, okay, to the left.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Okay. All right. Any questions on these photos, guys? This is the right side of the building. So this would be the side between Onyx and Alabaster. So this is closer to the, closer to Main Street.
That's right. So pretty straightforward side elevation, just a gable in with a larger gable that intersects that. And then number 1, this feels like it should have been a different order, huh? Number 1 is the front entrance to this 2-story porch of the Flower Pot Press on the 2nd level and the boutique store on the bottom level. And then the number 2 view is with the Flower Pot Press on the right side, coffee shop on the left side, and the drive that goes between those 2 buildings. 3, similar view of the side elevation of the Flower Pot Press. And then number 4 is from the back of the coffee shop, looking back at the back of the Flower Pot Press.
So this is the between view of what you see in number 2, just
That's
looking the other direction.
Number 2 has got me messed up, Mike.
It's if you're standing in Second Avenue, looking down the alley between the flower pot press and the coffee shop, and you're looking at the Harpeth Square in the distance, that's where you're at. Does that make more sense?
Oh, it's right here, Mary. It's like looking at this view here.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay, I got it.
Yep.
And this view is this view backwards.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, and I think there's one more page, yes.
Yeah, and that's the front entrances of each of those businesses. That flower pot press in the center and the coffee shop on the left. This is Second Avenue views, how you would see them if you were side by side with all those businesses.
Right.
Okay, and this, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see this little site plan here to kind of give you an idea. So this is the flower pot press building and the coffee house building.
Right.
Okay, now we're going to go to that right now. Okay. Can everyone see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so in the hatch, the gray hatch, you can see that's our proposed addition. It's approximately 930 square feet. And Amanda, I'm sorry I didn't get that to you sooner, but that footprint's about 930 square feet. The original building is a footprint of about 1,203 square feet.
Sorry, can you repeat the original?
Sure, the original is roughly 1,203 square feet.
Okay.
Now that's not including the front porch, so we'll need to include that. But so we're somewhere in the high 60s, low 70s in terms of coverage. I know that that's above the 50%, but being that this currently is, you know, you saw in the photographs, all the rear of this building is all concrete, so it's not not an open grass yard like you might be in some other locations.
Is there anything else you'd like to discuss on this page?
Well, maybe the rear area, the 2 parking spaces we're showing. It's also in order to get a handicap access to that first level because it's higher. We've got a ramp that wraps around and also some stairs that go up. The stairs go up to the second level. The ramp gets me from that handicap space up to the main level.
Right here?
Yes, correct.
Okay. All right.
That's about it there. So this shows a little bit more, excuse me, those 2 parking spaces we're proposing to add, the stair that goes up and the ramp that goes up to that back porch. The business, if you've been in there, it's all children's clothes. They're wanting an embroidery area and also more sales area. So that's what will be included in that first level of expansion. You can go to the second page. And then on the second level, like I mentioned to you, we're showing a bedroom, living area, bath, kitchen that's being added on that second level. What my client is telling me that they probably will use that for his wife's business that's counseling. And then this walkway that we're showing on the side of the building gets him access to his original flower pot press space on the front of the building.
Okay. So this is the existing business area.
Correct.
And this is not living space, but perhaps living, it could be. I mean, this is zoned central commercial, so it could be used as living space. It could be used as office. It could be used as business space.
That's correct.
Okay. And then this is a upper level porch and walkway that connects to stairs that go down to the ADA accessible parking area right here.
That's correct.
Okay. Any questions about that so far, guys? Okay.
All right, so what we are proposing is to basically extend the rear piece of this building and terminate it with a gabled end, much like what's been done at the front. So we have a similar architectural language of the front of the building in the back with an extension in the center, using same window styles and mutton pattern, and a similar kind of extension of the base and roof form. This is the view on the opposite side from the coffee shop, and that's the idea of the cantilevered walkway that gets this business owner to the main part of the house, the front part existing, past the residential unit. That is that upper walk area to get to that door. And if you can see over the door, over the original door, or actually that's a new door, I'm sorry. The door where your hand is a new door getting him into the side of his existing space. I'm proposing to extend that roof down from the current slope of the roof, just an extension to give him coverage from rain protection on that, over that door.
Okay.
With some brackets that would hold up that extension.
So it's not an awning as much as the roof extending slightly, just it serves as sort of an awning type feature.
That's correct, yes.
Okay.
But it'll look like an extension of the main roof.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm sorry, did I cut someone off? Did someone say something? I thought I heard a woman's voice. Okay.
That could have been me. Sometimes I sound like a woman when I get.
I could have sworn I heard someone start to say something. I apologize if I cut off somebody. Okay. Here is the last page.
Yeah, this is the rear of the addition, showing the stair to get up to the second floor balcony, and then that sidewalk on the right side is the way to get around to the front of the business.
All right. Anyone have any questions so far?
So Mike, is there one staircase upstairs?
Yes, ma'am. There is an interior stair from that business that's upstairs already. He has an interior stair that gets him out directly to the outside from upstairs.
And then just this one exterior stair?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
What is the lot coverage, Mike?
That's a great question, and I apologize. I don't have that answer. I think it's close to probably close to 70%.
So I do have a few things I'd like to talk about if there's no more questions. As far as lot coverage goes, we do not have lot coverage maximums proposed in the design guidelines for lots that aren't residential zones. So since this one's zoned central commercial, there isn't a maximum lot coverage as recommended by the guidelines, but there would be potentially a landscape surface area minimum requirement. But in this case, since it's central commercial, I don't believe there is a minimum requirement. Is that correct, Kelly Dannenfelser?
In the zoning district, that's correct.
Okay.
Well, my question, what I'm not understanding on the lot coverage is why at the Patterson house are they being required all that parking, but here not?
Well, we
With
haven't
the
talked
addition.
about that yet. That is something
Okay.
I'd like to go ahead and talk about right now.
Okay.
So this property, and along with the coffee house, is within a current site plan. This is called the Camelou site plan, and there is an arrangement that is currently outlined in an easement that cannot be altered unless it is terminated by both property owners, which in this case happens to be that both properties are owned by the same property owner. And the arrangement can't be dissolved without approval by the city administrator. That easement lists the parking configuration, if I recall correctly. It also states that nothing can change on the property without the easement being dissolved. So like I said, that easement would have to be dissolved per city administration approval, per property owner approval. The properties would then need to reduce the existing parking if they replaced, or they could reduce the existing parking if they replaced it with permanent parking spaces elsewhere that's nearby that meets the requirements of the zoning ordinance for distance and location. That's something that we would have to talk to the owner about. I believe they are trying to make arrangements for that, but I'm not sure what those arrangements are. There are some so there's some verbiage in the zoning ordinance that allows folks to make offsite, agreements in perpetuity for permanent parking. And then that additional square footage that's proposed right here would also have to be parked as well. So whether that's on site here or parked elsewhere off site to meet the zoning ordinance requirements for distance and location.
So we do not know at this juncture how many parking places would be required. Is that right?
What I didn't know, because I didn't know the square footage of the addition and the square footage of the existing building. So I did not have that information for you today.
Okay.
Do we know the age of the existing building?
It's not a historic building, but I do not know the age. I can look that up on the assessor's site. Let me go ahead and try to do that for you guys.
And was it all built at one time?
Yes.
The existing building, I believe, is all built at one
Yeah.
time, yes.
Yeah, it came to historic zoning. Gosh, I know Mary and I saw this one back when Rudy was part of the historic zoning.
Yeah, it was
That's
it was
right.
more than 12 years ago because I wasn't involved with it, but it's probably what 20 years ago
That's what
maximum.
is that about what you'd say, Mike?
Yeah, I think so.
And even though it's not historic, Mike, you know the way the coffee shop goes in and out with the additions?
Uh-huh.
I would like personally to conform to the guidelines that that makes separation as a building is added onto. Even though at this point in time, I think we can say it's not historic, but just to tell the story of that building, and I think the point of the guidelines is for that. So, and to be able to read each building, if there could be some type of separation, that would.
Yeah, I think our owner is open to that. We've talked about that, and of course, as with any business, they want to maximize how much they can.
Yeah, I don't
add,
think
obviously.
it doesn't need to be, in my mind, a large separation, but some separation.
Maybe the roof line is the ridge is a different
Yeah,
height.
yeah. And maybe it goes in a foot and comes back out, you know, maybe it goes in where those first two windows are on the addition a bit and then just pops right back out, just
Yeah.
something.
I would concur with that because we've folks building construction on Franklin Road, and I realize that those are residential and this is commercial, but it just seems appropriate to say, hey, let's do a little bit of breaking up roof lines or massing just to tell a story.
Yeah, that wouldn't be hard to do at all.
Well, I would agree, but I would, to Kelly's point, I would encourage everyone to consider this as a residential forum. It may have different types of uses, but it's a residential forum, and we should continue to be reiterate guidelines that we would for any residential structure regardless of use. It's in a zoning district that would allow for residential use, and it's designed as a residential structure. So I would encourage, like Ms. Pearson and Ms. Baker Heffley stated, that it would have insets, offsets, roof line breaks, all different types of measures could be used to differentiate the addition from the existing structure. And of course, I would have to recommend that the addition measure no more than 50% of the existing footprint of the structure per guideline recommendation.
And when you look at this drawing, that staircase looks oh so commercial, but then when you showed the other picture, Mike, it didn't.
For the
So-
rear view does not look like that.
No.
You don't- Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and you know, you've mentioned this before in our other meetings. This is the computer doing things that
right.
we, my young guys don't know the right way to draw a rail. So we would like to do it more of a soft, more friendly rail than this. This is
Right.
a metal rail. We probably do like a wood picket rail that feels more residential.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point.
When you look at it from that perspective, it's like, oh my Lord. And then you show the other one, it looks like, well, sure. So,
Yeah, that's a good feedback.
Mike, as this is drawn, wouldn't that rail come all the way back almost to Harpeth Square? If the
Yeah, that-
addition came back to almost at that break point in that,
Yeah.
in the driveway,
You're talking
That's
about where the stair starts? Is that what you're talking about?
no, but yeah, yes, back in the very back.
Yeah, it's really close to Harpeth Square. Yes, sir.
So there's not going to be a driveway behind the new addition.
No, going to the south you're talking about?
Right.
No.
You go
Right
to the
here is
property line.
building. This is
Yeah.
all building right here.
So
Right.
it'll abut Harpeth Square.
Yes,
It's pretty
it's
close.
going to. I mean, I'm concerned about the size of the addition. That's the way I calculated it, based on, if it's 930 square feet for the addition and the existing part's 1203, that's 77%.
Mike did mention that he doesn't have the calculations available yet for the large porch in the front, so it will drive it down a little bit.
But you got a porch on the back too. Did you include the porch on the back and
The porch on the back will be removed, so he can't count that, but he can count the one on the front.
All right, Jim, you mean the new porch?
Yeah, there's a new porch on the
The
back.
new porch.
so
Oh,
if you count the old porch, you have to count the
new
new
porch.
porch.
Yeah.
I assumed he counted the new porch in the calculations.
I did not, to be honest. So
Ah.
Yeah, because if you count the porches, it's like
It's about the same.
90%. It's
Okay,
I mean, it's basically the whole lot, right? Except for the green space in the front. That's what I was wondering, if it looked like it takes up from the back, it takes up the whole, at least the stairway comes all the way to the Harpeth Square.
right.
Now, what can I ask? The 50% is typically used as a way to make sure that an historic house is not overwhelmed by an addition. In this scenario, we've got a non-conforming, non-historic structure being added to on a site that's right now it's mostly paved anyways. Is there any consideration to the fact that it's a fairly small commercial lot that you don't really see the side? You know, you don't really get the impact of the addition to the building, I guess, because it's sandwiched in between two other lots.
I'll comment on that.
Yeah, please.
Because of the scale of the other two, I think you would have to show me a perspective, but I believe you will see quite a bit of this, Mike, because you've got a story and a half on each side. And to speak to not being historic, I for one would be somewhat more lenient, but the other part of that is you are in a historic district. So the scale, you know, there's going to have to be, in my mind, some nod to the scale.
Well, I think
Okay.
that's right. And you're filling up the lot. I mean, however you look at it, that's what you're doing.
Right, right.
And Mary, I guess it's like Bernie Butler's building on Third, you know, it takes the full lot all the way
It
back.
does,
Does.
it does, but
Yeah.
guess what? You really can't see that
No.
one.
No, you can't. You can't
You
because
can't.
they're so close to the two
That's
historic
right.
buildings
That's right.
next door. Now you can as you go down Bridge and you look to the left and it
You
continues
really,
on.
you really have to try. And
Yeah.
if Mike can really show that in a perspective, I mean,
That would help for me.
but I think you're going to find that Bernie's has a 2-story house next to it,
True.
and that kind of makes a difference. That it's
True. On both
Yeah.
sides, actually, it's
Yeah,
both
yeah.
the same height. Yeah.
But
That's good.
but I'm gonna want to be lenient because of the situation, you know, if we possibly can. But you still want it to fit into the scale of the historic properties
That's
around it.
that's the bigger issue as opposed to the taking up the full lot, but
Yeah.
that it's not out of place between its neighbors.
Yeah, that's
So my biggest concern is just precedent. You know, if we're going to fill up a lot, especially with the railing looking, just drawing your eye, I think that it's going to draw attention to the fact that this is a pretty large addition, and I don't want to set a precedent when it comes to additions in future projects. So trying to find a number that meets the applicant's need while also not setting a precedent and getting this kind of painted into a corner would be ideal for me. And just making sure we're not drawing attention to an addition.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
There have been additions that have been contemplated and some that have been approved and built in the past that have used more of a connector type concept. Now, I know that they have been different shapes in some regard, different types of homes, but they have been residential forms, and not all of them have been residential uses. Would that type of connector concept where you have the form and then it's more of a smaller structure that connects to a bigger structure on the back be something that the commission might consider here so that the applicant can better maximize the form?
I for one, am not a fan of the addition being a bigger form than the one that fronts the street.
Oh, that's not what I mean at all. I just mean having something smaller and then having it go to the bigger form on the back. Bigger as in matching what Mr. Hathaway's proposed now. I'm just hearing different. I'm trying to gather what I'm hearing here. And it sounds like there's concern about the form matching entirely and not giving any sort of contemplation to the existing form having more presence on the site than the addition. But maybe I'm just misunderstanding what
I'm
hearing.
comfortable kind of stepping away from the connector. I mean, I do think I prefer a connector form in many situations, but in this situation, I don't know if I don't lean towards the connector. I do think breaking up some of the massing and making it look like we're telling a story and just finding a way to sort of scale it down, not necessarily scale it down in square feet wise, but just make it where you're not drawing the eye, where we're just kind of lengthening a building and stretching it out.
Yeah.
I think that would help quite a bit.
And just to reiterate a little bit, we thought it would be great to bring this proposal before DRC to be able to get your all's comments on the size and scale and configuration of the addition, but we don't have the information needed for what parking is required for the addition. And the zoning ordinance requires any addition to meet the full requirements in the DD district for parking. So it sounds like there's perhaps several different uses. So while you're giving feedback on that, there's another piece that may impact the overall size of the addition if parking can't be accommodated nearby that meets the requirements of the zoning ordinance for remote parking. So just so you all know that, that's something that we'll still have to work through before it would come back to the Historic Zoning Commission for review.
Good comment.
Thank you.
Okay, that it? Any other comments on this one? We'll move on.
Mike, do you have any questions
Any
before we move on?
No, I think it's great input and appreciate you guys taking the time to give it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Our next one is alterations storefront configuration or reconfiguration at 99 East Main Street, Chartwell Hospitality.
All right. Hey, Jared, if you don't mind, I'm gonna set the stage for you before we jump in, if that's okay. All right, so just to give everyone an update on where we are on this project, this is the First and Main project. I'm gonna pull up Jared's photos for you. Jared is here representing Chartwell Hospitality. He is the architect that's working on the project for Chartwell Hospitality. So everyone's familiar with the project. You all worked on it. You have seen it come to fruition. What we are talking about today is a minor storefront configuration change approximately in this area here. If you all recall, the Historic Zoning Commission approved the conceptual storefront configurations in a couple of different times, at a couple of different times. This project came in 3 or 4 different stages, and the storefronts were approved conceptually, largely at one meeting. The rear was also approved largely at that time, and then the applicant did come forward and make some changes out of necessity for a Middle Tennessee electric easement that affected what's largely the intersection at First and Main and how that looked later on. So the reason that we are here today is because the certificate of appropriateness states that the Historic Zoning Commission needs to consider any storefront configurations. The applicant has asked to change the storefront configuration. And Jared, do you mind telling me, just so I'm clear, is it this one or this one that we're looking at? I think it's this one.
Yeah, it's that one. Yeah,
Is
the one with the door is staying put.
Okay, that's right. Okay, so the applicant is asking to put a demising wall on the inside of the storefront. So instead of it being one storefront, it's going to be 2 storefronts. It's going to actually be 2. And they'd like to change the storefront configuration so it has 2 doors. And we're going to show you what that looks like. And it's fairly minor. And we all, when we approved this, understood this was going to be a relatively, general storefront pattern all through here. On the rear, the storefront pattern was approved throughout, and due to some complications on the back, this is right near the river. This is the river over here. This storefront was not built out, but they would like to build it out now because it complements the other side. That's what we're talking about on the other side. And so they want to build it out exactly the way that was approved before, which is totally fine and appropriate and encouraged. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Jared and change over to the schematic that shows this a little bit more thoroughly. All right, Jared, you ready?
Yeah, thank you, Amanda. Hi, everybody. Nice to see you again. It's been, I don't even remember how long, but I hope you all are doing well. And like Amanda said, when we got started on this and with any kind of speculative leasing building like this, we weren't really sure where our tenants were going to be. And so the river end at that point had a larger space for a restaurant. And now that we're getting into really signing tenants up, the needs are not as great for a large space like that. And everybody wants a little bit smaller footprint. So that's why you see on this left side, the floor plan, you see two demising walls. And so that's a 2,000 square foot restaurant tenant that we are in talks with, that Chartwell's in talks with. And then a 1,200 square foot tenant next to that. And just in order to have more entrances, be able to break the spaces up more to meet the tenant needs, that's where this is all coming from. So the portion on the back, on the parking lot side, that's blank brick wall, that originally was going to be possibly a place for the kitchen of that large restaurant. That's no longer needed. So the tenants that we've been in talks with have said they desire a front and a back door. So that's where those are coming from. And, basically the materials, everything we want to do is going to be exactly matching what's there. The storefronts, same color, same profile, same size, all the same muntin patterns. The brick, of course, will stay. And so we're going to match everything. The contractor will be the same contractor. So they have everything that was selected, will be easy to match. So that's where we're at.
So instead of having one storefront that looks like this, it would be, two storefront entrances here, and then the back would have the same look back here.
Right. And like Amanda said, there is storefront there on the front where those two entrances would be, but it's currently I think 24 foot wide, one storefront, and we would need to break it up. So the brick pilaster in between would be new, but it again would match, all the brick would match.
Mm-hmm. Does anyone have any questions about this so far? And Jared, do you mind commenting on the bulkheads and everything like that? Everything will be the same. Does anything change from the current configuration? Does it have to change out, or will you be able to work with what's currently there?
Yeah, I think it's going to work. So right now the storefronts are on an 18-inch sill that has brick underneath them in that location. And the same with the one that's immediately to the left. You can see that there's a brick sill under the side lights, but the only thing that goes to the ground is the doors. And so that will stay the same here. A single door on each one will come to the ground, but then the side lights will be up 18 inches. So that detailing, it's got a row lock at the bottom. And then the head, instead of being, the larger storefront entrances are recessed. These will not be recessed. They will be flush on the outside, but they will have a brick soldier head and will be down below the soffit. So there's no change in the soffit material or anything like that.
I'm going to switch back to the current photographs. Does anyone have any questions, comments? Okay, so what we are asking today is for the, okay, I thought I switched over to photographs. Does anyone need to see the photographs again of the existing conditions?
No.
Okay, great. Okay, so what we're asking today is if the DRC would be comfortable with staff approving these minor alterations administratively, so that the applicant can go ahead and move forward with the change, since it is minor and it is generally in keeping with the intent of the previous COA approval. And if not, we can go ahead and move forward with directing the applicant to approval for the July agenda. If the DRC feels comfortable with administrative approval, then we would ask that you consider allowing, if any of these come forward in the future for the remainder of the facade, and they generally follow the same pattern and general mild, I keep saying mild, minor nature of alteration, then those can move forward administratively as well. But if there are any, alterations that aren't in keeping with traditional storefront configuration changes, then those would, of course, need to go to the Historic Zoning Commission for consideration in a formal manner. But I'd love to hear your comments all on the record.
I would be comfortable with administrative overview.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I agree. No issues.
I
Thank
agree,
you.
but they're going to have to come to one to get approved for administrative, right?
No, we're asking that if you find that it would meet that threshold right now.
Oh, I didn't know that at the design review, we could make
A decision. Yeah,
decision.
I just kind of wanted to get your feel on, because we kind of have I have wanted to kind of test the waters to see,
Okay.
because I feel like it meets the administrative threshold, but I kind of wanted to get a feel from you guys,
Yeah.
whether or not you thought it did, because this is something that, it's a major project on a major corridor and a major intersection. And I wanted to have the full support of the, of the DRC, and by essence, the Historic Zoning Commission, before I move forward with something like this. But yes, I appreciate that comment, because you're absolutely right on that.
So you're okay, Barry, with this? Yes.
I am,
Yeah.
yep.
Anybody else? Any other
Brian?
comments? Brian, are you good?
Yes,
Mike?
I'm good with it.
I'm good. Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay.
Fine.
All right. Well, Jared, if you want to move forward, it does need to be through a building permit with everything else, of course. So if you guys want to move forward with that, I will address the comments in the building permit process.
Great. Thank
All
you
right.
all very much.
I do appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. We hope you're enjoying the project. We're proud of it. So it's going to be great as it starts to fill up.
That's
Yeah.
the main thing.
Yeah, we're glad
Well-
to see tenants going in. We're very excited about that.
Good. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other items?
Mr.
Amanda?
Chair, just for the
Yeah.
record, we did not receive any emails
Ah,
for any items at this meeting, and we do not have anyone on the public phone line.
wonderful. Then I guess we are good to dismiss. Do we need to formally dismiss with a vote?
I see that I failed to put the
That's all right.
adjournment, but yes, we do. And I do have a quick comment to share. Since we're doing so well on time, I'm going to steal another minute from you guys, if you're okay with it.
For the record.
We do have a plan moving forward to update the Historic District Design Guidelines document. As you all may recall, I did seek to get approval for a budget for the preservation plan update, but due to some budget changes because of the COVID-19 outbreak, we are not able to move forward on that at this time. So in lieu of that, we're going to concentrate on updating the design guidelines document, and we're very excited about it. I think that's something that we can achieve and do something really exciting with. We do hopefully have some funding, and I'll let Kelly speak to that a little bit, that can assist us with some graphics and achieve the caliber of document that we have for the Envision Franklin and zoning ordinance document, because we did do a lot of that work in-house. So the document can be reflective of the quality that we already have for some of our other documents that we use on a daily basis here at the city. We are fleshing out what that outline for meetings and approval will look like. It will go into next year, so it's not something that we're anticipating trying to crank out really quickly. It's going to take a lot of time, but the DRC will likely have pretty periodic items on the agenda related to specific topics for the guidelines update. So I just want to give you guys a heads up on that. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns about specific areas of the guidelines document, feel free to email those to me, and I will I'm keeping a running list of things that we'd like to address. So feel free to send those to me. Don't send them as a big group, send them to me directly, and I'll keep a list of things that I want to start researching and working toward addressing. So I look forward to hearing your comments on those, and I'm really excited to be working with you guys on making our document better and, reflect, guidelines that we want to strengthen and use in our community.
Kelly Dansfelder, did you have some comments on that?
I don't. We have a small budget amount proposed for graphics to assist us, but we've got an incredible staff, a really, really talented staff that can do a lot of things in-house that other communities might consult out on a frequent basis. So we're going to utilize the strengths that we have on our staff and come up with a document that is interactive and is as easy to use as some of our other online documents like the zoning ordinance and Envision Franklin. So it's going to be much more user-friendly and dynamic when we finish this out. But just keep in mind things that you would like to see tweaked, refined, things going well, things not going well in the guidelines as we move forward. So we'll have some meetings. We're working on that. We've also been working with a consultant through this. We're drafting a scope of services, and we're taking that to the board next Tuesday for City Hall to finalize a scope of service and PSA agreement, which is potentially really exciting. The board will need to vote on that for us to be able to proceed, but that is in the plan for them to be able to give us the feedback to continue working toward that direction. And if so, there will be some time spent with the DRC on that project as well, as it's a major, block revitalization of the City Hall property. So there's a lot of opportunity there, and we want to make sure that that is an award-winning redevelopment site with a fantastic building that fits into the context of downtown Franklin. So more on that to come. We'll just keep our fingers crossed.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else from Kelly Dansfelder, Kelly Gibson, or Amanda?
We'll keep y'all busy.
Otherwise, I'd like a motion
Yeah.
to adjourn.
So move.
Second,
Carries. Second, who was that?
Kelly.
Thank you, Kelly. And then just respond when I call your name. Kelly Baker Heffley,
Aye.
Susan Besser,
Aye.
Jeff Carson,
Aye.
Mike Hathaway,
Aye.
Brian Laster,
Aye.
Mary Pierce,
Aye.
and Jim Roberts. Aye. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.